This film depicts a cross-section of United States Air Force participation in Southeast Asia during the latter half of 1963, July through December. It chronicles United States Air Force assistance, training, and augmentation of the Vietnamese Air Force, known as VNAF, in its bitter counterinsurgency struggle against the Vietcong. Also noted briefly are USAF activities in Thailand. This reporting period was marked by many events which influenced USAF's role in Southeast Asia. The most important event, of course, was the November coup in the Republic of Vietnam. The chief effect on USAF was a change in the VNAF commander, with Colonel Wing Cao Ky taking the place of Colonel Hen. Colonel Ky continued the USAF-VNAF working relationship established in the latter part of 1961 in respect to the conduct of the air war implemented through the Tactical Air Control System and its support elements. Another notable event was the September visit of Secretary of Defense McNamara and Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Maxwell Taylor. From this visit stemmed the American military personnel reduction Operation Cutback, which took place in early December. The operation stripped units of military personnel for early rotation. Of the 1,000 men returned to the United States by Christmas, 1/4 were from USAF units. Secretary McNamara returned to Vietnam in December, this time to appraise the overall situation under the direction of the new leadership, which took over during the November coup. Also important during this reporting period was a military exercise held in Thailand in the month of October. In this exercise, known as Tidal Wave, units from 8 SEATO countries sharpened their techniques on air warfare in problems associated with counterinsurgency operations. But it is USAF's direct participation in the Vietnam War with which this film is mainly concerned. An important internal change in the 2nd Air Division's table of organization was adopted on the 8th of July. USAF's role in Vietnam was affected by the regrouping of most of the individual units, which in months past had been sent into Southeast Asia as needed. The new realignment is a realistic one, resulting in greater efficiency, while easing the operational and administrative burdens that steadily mounted through the months of increased involvement in the war effort. In this revamping, such colorful code names as Farmgate and Mule Train, longtime fixtures in the theater, were dropped. The Farmgate B-26 and T-28 capability and the Mule Train C-123 airlift organizations have been absorbed into the new format. Concurrently, the status of the bulk of American military personnel of all services was converted from temporary duty to permanent change of station. However, some organizations, like the Ranch Hand Defoliation Spray Mission Unit, still maintain both their name and TDY status. Important gauge of an air war's scope and accomplishments is its flying statistics. Here is a sampling of key data for this reporting period. First, strike aircraft sorties. VNAF combat missions, utilizing approximately 55 strike aircraft, T-28s and A-1Hs, totaled about 800 sorties a month. The November peak of 1,000 was due to the coup, with many sorties in support of night outpost or new rural life hamlet defense. The 21 aircraft allocated for USAF combat advisory sorties as the combined American VNAF crew-flown missions in V-26s and T-28s are called, logged about 700 sorties per month. There are 3 main reasons for the closeness in number between the VNAF and advisory sorties, despite the fact that the VNAF have twice as many aircraft. A lack of sufficient number of qualified VNAF pilots and supervisors. A shortage of support skills in many specialties. The 3rd reason involves basic policy and organizational problems facing the entire Vietnamese government. To do justice to VNAF, the first 2 reasons deserve a fuller explanation. As each nation has found, The development of an air force is a long-range project, with professional stature achieved only after long periods of training. Besides USAF advisory, strike, and airlift activity, additional thousands of flights were logged by other USAF and VNAF aircraft. For liaison sorties, for escort of helicopters, trains, truck convoys, and riverboat traffic, for psychological warfare leaflet drops. Photo reconnaissance missions flown from Ton Son Nhut continued to provide photographs for rapid reaction requests embracing all areas in the Republic of Vietnam. 6 RF-101s, 2 RB-57s, and 4 RB-26s were utilized for these sorties during latter 1963. Night photography was added to the RB-57 capability during this period, enabling the jets to join the RB-26s on night alerts. In all, there were well over 1,000 reconnaissance sorties through December. It might be well to call attention to the B-26. This aircraft was a sterling bird from its inception in World War II through Korea right up to the present in Vietnam. Its status now is that of an interim aircraft until one by one the planes in use are replaced by the A-1E, programmed for 1964. Other tactical aircraft are also under consideration for use in Vietnam. Airlift tonnages carried within Southeast Asia, both cargo and passenger, continue to mount. The C-123 aircraft of the 3 squadrons in the 315th Troop Carrier Group airlifted almost 21,000 tons of cargo during our reporting period, of which 686 tons was dropped by parachute. The 315th also carried 87,700 passengers, of whom almost 10,000 were airdropped. Major General Roland H. Anthis, commander of the 2nd Air Division, piloted an aircraft in a number of these combined USAF Vietnamese Army paratroop drops. In addition, the C-47s of the VNAF and USAF's 1st Air Commando Squadron, as well as the Army's CV-2B Caribous and the Royal New Zealand Air Force's Bristols, also airlifted sizable tonnages of cargo and passenger loads. Joining the VNAF C-47s, American-piloted C-123 aircraft now regularly fly Night Angel flare missions to help repel enemy night attacks on outposts and the new rural life hamlets. Since Vietcong attacks on the rural hamlets increased alarmingly in late 1963, especially in the week following the coup, this spotlighting of the enemy for more accurate airstrikes and village ground fire has become a significant factor in hamlet security. The ranch hand C-123 aircraft spray defoliation program has developed into a highly successful operation, stemming from use of a stronger spray solution than in earlier tests. Defoliation of the railroad right-of-way from Saigon to Phan Thiet has been completed. Next target is the treatment of foliage along selected river and canal areas in the Mekong Delta. In late summer, 2 ranch hand C-123 spray aircraft were deployed to Thailand to aid in combating a grasshopper infestation 80 miles north of Bangkok. The blanketing of 24,000 acres in 15 spray sorties was a highly effective operation, saving 80,000 acres of farm vegetation. Another weather vane in war is enemy capability. An ominous note since June has been increased damage to aircraft due to greater volume of enemy ground fire. This captured 50 caliber machine gun is an example of the larger anti-aircraft weapons being used by the Vietcong. As in all wars, a toll in human life and lost aircraft can be expected. The VNAF and USAF had to pay its share of the toll during the last 6 months of 1963. One of USAF's prime functions, the operational supervision of all radar communications in Vietnam for tactical air control and air defense systems, is illustrated in this Control Reporting Center at Tan Son Nhut. The CRC, with its subsidiary control reporting posts, is also representative of an equally vital USAF function, the training of VNAF personnel for its eventual self-supporting role. The schooling at Tan Son Nhut is embodied in an excellent 10-month course, conducted jointly by the USAF and VNAF. Its encouraging progress marks a long step forward in the drive toward VNAF self-sufficiency in air and ground communications. Training has paid off to the point where 2 of the 3 control reporting posts, those at Pleiku with 31 men and Ban Mae To with 27 men, are completely VNAF manned and operated, with USAF personnel acting in an advisory capacity. The other 2 stations, the CRC at Tan Son Nhut and the Da Nang CRP, have all sections operated by VNAF in a training status. VNAF personnel are already capable of handling all routine operations. At Nha Trang, the USAF conducts VNAF pilot training in the Cessna 182 light aircraft. The VNAF pilots then go to Ben Hoa to transition in the TO-1D, formerly known as the L-19 liaison plane. Here, VNAF pilots and observers learn and rehearse their various liaison tasks, chief of which are target spotting for strike aircraft with smoke grenades or rockets, and target marking for paratroop and helicopter drop zones. The TO-1D is also used as a spotting platform for trains, truck, and sampan convoys, as well as a bird dog vehicle for ground commanders. Another yardstick of USAF participation in Southeast Asia is construction, both in quantity and type of work. From the seasonal July rains through fair December, USAF's building program was a heavy one, with many a long-range or crash program generated earlier, now completed or well underway. The 2nd Air Division's 3-story headquarters building was in its final construction stages at year's end. Many of the tents housing airmen at Tan Son Nhut were replaced by additional barracks completed during late 1963. Also at year's end, the final touches were being put to the intricate renovation and rewiring of the interior of this old French Army transmitter building. The building is being prepared for engineering and installation of telephone equipment and supporting control bays of the USAF Minor Twix Relay Center, housed temporarily in mobile vans and Jamesway huts. When completed in 1964, this installation will have the status of a master complex. Major runway construction and improvement projects were completed at Ben Hoa and Da Nang air bases. Scores of semi-permanent barrack-type structures were also finished at both bases. Similar construction was duplicated on a minor scale at Vietnam's Pleiku, Sac Trang, and similar stations like Can San Island, as well as at the Thailand bases of Don Muang, Tak Li, Ubon, and Udon. It all adds up to an impressive total of USAF engineering accomplishment. Engineering activity will be a continuing feature, for in a geographical region where tropical downpours make weather a major enemy in its own right, the improvement and maintenance of plant and facilities are never-ending tasks. This pierced steel planking being offloaded at the remote jungle landing strip of Alui points up a significant activity vital to this guerrilla-type war. A number of such new airstrips to resupply isolated troop units in inaccessible areas was added during this period. To spotlight a few of the hundreds of USAF and associated activities, let us concentrate on 2 involving the 30th Weather Group. The famed fortified hamlet of Father Hoa at Hat Tin was the location of one of the 30th Weather Group's 3 one-man reporting stations set up in the Mekong Delta to add to the group's sparse meteorological data of the region. Here, statistics essential for ground and air combat planning are gathered on rainfall, sky conditions, visibility, wind direction, and speed. This mobile TV ground station on the outskirts of Tan Son Nhut has a role far removed from 30th Weather's other war support activities. Its mission is to track and receive cloud photographs for both local and worldwide weather forecasting. Clicked off by the Tyros 8 satellite camera apparatus every 3½ minutes, each picture encompasses an area 800 miles in length and width. In VNAF's actual aerial warfare, an encouraging note was evident in their handling of the A-1H single-seat fighter. VNAF pilots overcame much of their initial reluctance to carry an ordnance load equal to the plane's capability. The pilots also began descending to more practical altitudes than previously to expend ammunition. This increasingly positive performance on VNAF's part is a gratifying indication of the growing aggressive spirit which characterizes a mature Air Force. At year's end, the 2nd Air Division bade farewell to its commander, Major General Roland H. Anthis. This ceremony at Tanzanut climaxed General Anthis' 25-month tour of duty in charge of air operations in Southeast Asia. In concluding this report, the chief note of latter 1963 was the continuing steadfastness of USAF participation in the area, despite such events as the government change in the Republic of Vietnam and Operation Cutback's personnel retrenchment, to say nothing of the uncertainties inherent in counterinsurgency warfare. One last word. The unwavering honoring of USAF's commitment, especially in the Republic of Vietnam, forms a fitting tribute to those airmen who have died to help withhold this strategic peninsula and its war-weary peoples from the grasp of communism.